Chapter 12. The names of Elohim are fundamental so that we can know more about him, for they are an expression of the person of Elohim within the children of humanity, reflecting their nature, importance, and divine characteristics among our fellow beings. Elohim reveals himself in us through these names so that we are the representatives of his name on the face of the whole earth. And if you take the name of his Son, who is after the likeness of the Father, whose name equals to yours, then such names will lead you to know and admire his attributes, which are inseparable from his person. And just as it was said to Enoch, humanity shall also walk with God and be in this state of communion through the priesthood or the grace of Elohim. And in relation to women and other members of the covenant who were denied the priesthood unjustly, but who are filled with grace in the likeness of the only begotten Son of the Father, the elements then recognize the command of the one who, acting in the name of his Son, through the feelings corresponding to the desired action, that is, to the divine stimulus within oneself, then nothing will be impossible. But behold, all things will be subject unto this one through faith and prayer. However, Enoch was informed that to others outside the covenant, it was not lawful to know how to invoke the Almighty Elohim in his day. And therefore he was forbidden to divulge this information to any other man or woman, except to those who showed themselves worthy of such merit within the covenant people. For in his days, that is, in the days of Enoch, this ineffable power, it was the key for the wicked to return inadequately in their imagination to this great gift, the name of God, and thus to profane it without realizing the high endowments which derive from the name of the Most High, because they should never be evoked by a heart full of iniquities. This sacred secret, made known to those outside the covenant, would make the name of Elohim a common evocation in the hearts of the children of men, which in the end would nullify their effectiveness even among their elect, and possibly among priests of his order. For many would be brought to doubt the reality of this power by too common utterance on the lips of the profane and the casualness of the ordinances available to all, both to just and to unjust. In these days, however, some of the holy sentinel angels, who were of the guardian class, came under the influence of Anakiel, the one responsible for the plot that took place among the guardians who were corrupted, known among his fellows by the name Azazel, being the principal of those who abandoned their position which they obtained in heaven. For they were appointed from the beginning as heralds of Elohim in regard to earthly affairs, and therefore they could materialize in carnal bodies in the form of humanity, and to infiltrate among the sons and daughters of Adam. Wherefore they came to build for themselves great shelters, in which some of them, under the influence of Satan, had intercourse with the daughters of mankind, by which they brought forth seed, the great ones of the land, owing to an agreement made between the guardian angels, so that the rebellious ones would not come to imprison the rest of the guardians who remained in the land to fulfill their purpose among the children of mankind. and that they might leave the covenant people in peace. So that even to this day, inasmuch as the children of Aaron separated 2 goats by casting lots, the one for Yahweh to atone for the sins of the children of Israel, and the other to hand over for Azazel, in remembrance of the agreement of separation between the sentinels. Thus the children of Aaron present the goat that is appointed to Yahweh, and will make him a burnt offering by the sin of men before God. But the goat appointed for Azazel must be brought alive before Yahweh to make atonement upon him in remembrance of the agreement between them, that it may be sent into the wilderness for Azazel to remember this agreement. For this reason it was decreed among the priests that the man who sent the goat to Azazel should wash his clothes and bathe in water before returning to the camp, and only then can he enter among the children of Israel. This is because this man went to meet an evil angel, and must purify himself in spirit and body before returning to the congregation of the one God. But behold, the great ones were slow to understand without much reasoning, and thus dependent on their parents in turn, in order not to allow these men of great stature to become the slaves of mankind by reason of their forgetfulness. It came to pass that the sentinel angels, who had been disobedient in abandoning their position with the Father, began to use earthly men to build cities whose architecture was a representation of heavenly things. So the men began to obtain from the guardians the proper knowledge to mould the iron and to work their mixtures. Thus they could forge all sorts of devices, from more resistant designs such as weapons and armor and carriages to battle. Their wives learned to mix of the herbs and their healing properties, and their young men learned the art of handling the sword and to fight with bow and arrow.